evening and welcome to Biz RoundUp. I am Tamiru Nimsat and we at Art Television bring you a collection of business highlights. Let's have a look at the headlines. The ministerial meeting of the 19th Summit of the Non-Aligned Movement concludes proceedings. President Ranil Wickremesinghe advocates reform in global financial structure. Central Bank maintains policy rates, emphasizes inflation control and low interest rates. News in detail. The ministerial meeting of the 19th Summit of the Non-Aligned Movement has concluded in Kampala, Uganda, with the adoption of 3 crucial documents on the 19th of this month. From January 17th to 18th, the meeting saw the adoption of the outcome document of the 19th NAM Summit, the Kampala Declaration. It also saw the adoption of the political declaration of the Ministerial Committee of the NAM on Palestine. These documents were submitted to the heads of state and government of the NAM for final consideration and adoption. On the sidelines of the ministerial meeting, Sri Lanka's Foreign Minister Ali Sabri engaged in bilateral discussions with foreign counterparts including Seychelles, Ghana, Kenya and Russia. Adding significance to the event, President Ranil Wickremesinghe arrived in Kampala on January 18th and addressed the heads of state and government of NAM on the afternoon of January 19, 2024. Addressing the summit, President Wickremesinghe has called on the non-aligned movement to become a dynamic bloc of the Global South capable of making an effective impact in shaping the evolving new order. President Wickremesinghe emphasized the need for a strong and united NAM amid increasing geostrategic rivalries in political, economic, technological and military terms. The President also urged the movement to oppose the spread of big power rivalry and to build a multipolar world that incorporates the aspirations of the Global South. Addressing contemporary global challenges, the President further stressed the importance of NAM playing a vital role in opposing coercion of uncommitted states. He also noted that the NAM membership is no longer a grouping of weak states, acknowledging the rapid progress and economic advancement of several Asian, African and Latin American states. President Wickremesinghe welcomed the 19th Summit's highest priority to the crisis in Gaza and the inalienable rights of the people of Palestine. He called for the realization of an independent and sovereign state of Palestine. Sri Lanka and the Republic of Benin signed a MOU on visa exemption for diplomatic, official and service passport holders, allowing a 30-day stay without a prior visa. The agreement was signed by Sri Lanka's Minister of Foreign Affairs Ali Sabri and the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Benin, Olusegun Ajari Bakari. President Ranil Wickremesinghe also engaged in bilateral discussions with the Vice President of Benin, Mariam Chabi Talata, during the Non-Aligned Movement Summit in Uganda. During the meeting, President Wickremesinghe emphasized the importance of advancing economic and trade connections between the two nations. The duo focused on investment opportunities for the Sri Lankan apparel industry in Benin's notable cotton sector. President Wickremesinghe extended an invitation to the Foreign Minister of Benin to visit Sri Lanka soon, exploring new economic possibilities and strengthening bilateral relations. The discussions involved key officials including the President's Secretary, Senior Advisor on Climate Change and the Secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. President Ranil Wickremesinghe highlighted the numerous challenges the world faces such as conflicts, pandemic repercussions, climate disasters and financial market uncertainties. The President also emphasized the disproportionate impact on vulnerable G77 economies. The President said this while addressing the 3rd South Summit of G77 plus China in Uganda on Sunday.
We are meeting here today at a time when the world is facing a multitude of challenges. They vary from escalation in conflicts, repercussions of the pandemic, climate-related natural disasters, and the vagaries of the global financial markets, among many others. These developments impact disproportionately and adversely on the vulnerable economies of the G77 members. The need for reform of the global financial architecture is more urgent than ever. The contemporary international debt resolution architecture is more suited for a world where the Paris Club and London Club dominated global debt resolution. Today, global debt, and particularly debt in the developing world, is dominated by the international bond markets and non-Paris Club lenders. When available financial resources are siphoned out as debt service, we are unable to spend on essential public services and human development measures, which in turn impacts on the SDG targets. The common framework has also been inadequate as a forum to provide speedy debt resolution. This disconnect between the architecture and reality has led to delays in resolution of recent sovereign debt distress in a large number of our countries, including my own.
Stay tuned. We will return after this short commercial break. Welcome back after the break. During his address, the President also said that the global financial system has failed to meet the needs of the Global South to mitigate and adapt to climate change.
There has been an abject failure of the global financial architecture in meeting the needs of the Global South to mitigate and adapt to impacts of climate change. There have been several commitments made in various global forums regarding climate finance contributions, but these have not translated into real money on the table. At the COP28 in Dubai, Sri Lanka presented the Tropical Belt Initiative. Given the lack of public financing, the Tropical Belt Initiative envisages catalyzing private investment towards fostering global public goods, including biodiversity and our oceans and forest resources. Today, we are seeing a rise in protectionist tendencies, with notions of decoupling and de-risking taking hold in the global trade order. Such changes in global trade structures cannot and should not happen on a unilateral basis. The rules of the game should be decided in multilateral forums, not in one or two capital cities. We need to ensure the smooth and optimal efficiency of global trade and investment. The G77 should coordinate this process with the BRICS.
Health Minister Dr. Ramesh Patirana said that the ministry has finished 91% vaccination for measles among children. Speaking at a media briefing, Health Minister Dr. Patirana highlighted the country's commitment to proactive healthcare.
Dr. Patirana outlined key health priorities for the year with a focus on bolstering primary health care services, improving efficiency for patients, and ensuring prompt access to essential resources. However, he acknowledged that tackling non-communicable diseases remains a major challenge. Addressing the concerns and the associated complications is crucial for Sri Lanka's long-term health. Dr. Patirana also stressed the urgency of tackling dengue fever, calling for increased public collaboration alongside support from health and security departments. Recognizing the existing drug shortage, the government is actively importing essential medicines, with shortages gradually decreasing. He mentioned ongoing efforts to develop an online platform in collaboration with Moratuwa and Colombo universities to bring transparency and efficiency to the medical supply system.
The International Monetary Fund has concluded its mission to Sri Lanka, which was led by Senior Mission Chief Peter Brewer. The mission discussed recent macroeconomic developments and progress in implementing economic and financial policies under the Extended Fund Facility Arrangement at a press conference in Colombo recently.
The IMF team stressed the importance of sustaining the reform momentum. The IMF highlighted key areas of focus, including the introduction of a progressive property tax for fair burden sharing and sustaining revenue-based consolidation. Tax policy measures should be accompanied by strengthening tax administration, removing tax exemptions, and actively eliminating tax evasion. Urgent actions were urged to finalize amendments to the Banking Act, implement the bank recapitalization plan, and strengthen the financial supervision and crisis management framework. They further urged authorities to adopt an action plan for implementing recommendations in the IMF Governance Diagnostic Report. Commendable progress was noted in putting debt on a path towards sustainability, with the execution of domestic debt restructuring as a significant milestone. The IMF team emphasized the critical importance of finalizing agreements with official creditors and reaching a resolution with external private creditors. Progress will be formally assessed in the context of the second review of the EFF arrangement alongside the forthcoming 2024 Article 4 consultation.
Stay tuned. We will return after this short commercial break. Welcome back after the break. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka has decided to maintain its policy rate stable, emphasizing the need to control inflation while simultaneously lowering interest rates. The Monetary Board opted to keep the standing deposit facility rate and the standing lending facility rate unchanged at 9% and 10% respectively. This was said by central bank officials at the post-monetary policy review meeting media briefing held at the central bank premises recently. Governor Veerasinghe emphasized that maintaining the current policy rates provides banks with the flexibility to further reduce interest rates for borrowers, contributing to economic recovery. Acknowledging the credit expansion over the past months, he expressed optimism that lowering interest rates will expedite the ongoing economic recovery. Dr. Veerasinghe added that the central bank anticipates a temporary uptick in January and February, reaching about 6% before gradually decreasing to the targeted 5% in the medium term. Dr. Veerasinghe also highlighted the increased credit growth, positive GDP growth, and a stable exchange rate. The rebound in domestic economic activity is expected to be sustained, improving investor sentiments, improving supply conditions, and the gradual rebound in external demand conditions. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka also noted that the external sector is expected to remain resilient, with the merchandise trade deficit estimated to have moderated during 2023. The current account balance is anticipated to show a surplus, supported by trade in services, tourism, and workers' remittances. Gross official reserves improved significantly to $4.4 billion by the end of December 2023. Speaking at the press conference, Central Bank Governor Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe said it has sought explanations from several banks that have not swiftly complied with policy rate cuts as mandated by an order issued last year.
It has been lower than what we anticipated when we issued this order somewhere back in, I think, August. By that time, some banks had already started the process of bringing down interest rates. But other banks, those are not started the process, we asked them to bring down at least, I think, 350 basis points by in December. A lot of banks have done, but there are some banks that have not been able to have, they have reduced, but not to the extent that we expected. Obviously, there are other reasons. For example, now when we had this issue, this order, we also had expectations on where the other market rates, like government treasuries, yield rates, also we expected further sharp decline, but that did not happen. So there's impact on other factors. So, but that's why closely monitoring with the banks, and then we want to all the banks to follow the instruction that we have issued.
In a strategic effort to revitalize Sri Lanka's global image and draw high-end tourism, the Gold Concert Tour 2024 was officially launched in Colombo recently. The event, organized by the Presidential Secretariat, Sri Lanka Tourism Promotion Bureau, and Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority, introduces a series of cultural, musical, literary, and culinary experiences. 6 prominent events featured are Rhythms of Paradise in Koggala, Gourmet Gold, Opera at the Anantara, Southern Book Fair 2024, Gold Literary Festival 2024, and Mathara Festival for the Arts. These events aim to celebrate Sri Lanka's rich culture, music, literature, art and food, bringing together global writers, poets, intellectuals, musicians, artists and chefs. Speaking at the event, Presidential Envoy Niranjan Devaditya expressed pride in showcasing Sri Lanka's cultural richness on the global stage. The Gold Concert Tour 2024 seeks to position Sri Lanka as a cultural hub, attracting quality tourism and fostering international acclaim for its diverse offerings.
I'm very proud that in a short period of 2 years, we have been able to revive, resurrect our global identity and stand tall and proud and showcase this festival. A small example of what we can do. I'm not talking about economics, I'm not talking about IT, I'm not talking about tourism, merely a cultural festival of what is so rich and vibrant and so positive in our country.
With that, we wind up for today. For this and more, subscribe to our channel on YouTube and follow us on Facebook. See you tomorrow with State of Business at 7:45 p.m. Take care and good night.